All right. Episode 2 of Paddle Talk. Welcome. World Sand Drag News official podcast called Paddle Talk. My name is Billy Teeters. I am joined by Isaac DeHaan and our friend Dave Applegate. We'll get to his introduction in just a second. This episode is brought to you by Murray Power Sports in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Murray Power Sports is a very small family-owned business. Tim and Ginger Murray are off-road enthusiasts who turned their passion for the outdoors into a business, offering everything from a ATV, UTV, and motorcycle service and repair to nearly any aftermarket parts and accessories, wheels and tires, custom seats, lighting, custom audio for off-road, motorcycle, marine, Jeep, and street vehicles, exhaust and tunes, suspension upgrades, and much more. All the way to the vinyl side of things, stickers, decals, banners, custom apparel, windows, floor and fleet graphics, street vehicle graphics, and full wraps. As you can see, they do a lot of awesome shit.
Yes.
But what they've been most known for in recent years is their custom off-road wrap kits. All custom design and printing is done in-house, and they use only the top industry off-road rated material, very thick and durable with ridiculously strong adhesive that bonds with the off-road plastics and metal, very thick and durable, designed to last for years to come. Installation is available if you are in the area and take your off-road toys to them, or you can check the current list of dealer and installation partners on their website. With numerous partners across the US and Canada, they can help create a unique design that fits your style from mild to wild. MurrayPowersports.com. You can check their Facebooks and Instagram at Murray's Power Sports. Once again, that's MurrayPowersports.com. MurrayPowersports.com. Murray Power Sports.
I'll tell you, I'm
Awesome.
on the third wrap. We change it every year. They do great. I'm also a certified installer for them, and I can get dealer prices and stuff as well down where I'm at. So I've been with them for a long time. They're fantastic.
You're wearing the shirt.
Yep, actually, I think I am. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
They do shirts and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, you guys just heard Dave talk. Big ambassador of Murray Power Sports. Dave, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
My name's Dave Applegate. I'm here in Lexington, South Carolina. Real quick, just started out in the blacktop with Grandpa racing, Dad racing. All three of my kids ran junior dragsters, and got into the dirt now, and met some of the best people I ever met so far in the dirt. I have had a absolute blast. So that's where I'm at. Got to meet you guys. Follow World Sand Drag News, and got to meet you guys, some of yous, and here we are. We're just going to keep on pushing it forward and try and grow the sport, grow the spectators and the racetracks. So that's where I come from. Is that.
Well, awesome. Glad to have you aboard. You covered your first race ever with us at Lumber River, which was awesome. So let's go ahead and start the show with this. Tell everybody that's listening, including Isaac, what is S.P.D.R.S?
Okay. So, and that's funny that you said that, because I got a lot of guys that seen the initials and like, man, we love it. It's S.P.D.R.S, So I didn't realize that in the beginning. Actually, my really good friend, Stephen Hacker in Ohio, he's the one that caught it. He's the one that told me first, but it's Southern Power Sports Drag Racing Series. Over the years, I've been helping some guys put some races together. I've done a few of my own. John Whalen, worked with him for a little while doing a few races and whatnot. And I had a bunch of guys come to me and say, man, just do your own thing. Just make your own. Let's do it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then finally, enough people just kept asking me. I said, okay. So I did it. And I've had a whole lot of help with this from friends, racers, family. But basically what it is right now we have 6 races at 6 tracks in 5 different states.
Wow. 6 races in 5 different states?
6 races, 5 different states. And that includes... I don't know
any other series doing that right now.
That's the thing. I'm trying to do something different. Can't guarantee everything that I'm trying. You don't know. But right now we have Lumber River Sand Drags. We have Greens Raceway down there, presented by Fowler in Virginia. We have Little Sandy Raceway in Grayson, Kentucky. We got Shelton's. Everybody knows Shelton's as well. And we've got Silverback up there in Mears, Michigan. And we also have a new track that is building a drag strip that is putting a new dirt track in, and that's South Georgia Motorsports Park.
Ooh.
Their grand opening is actually, I'm excited about it. Their grand opening.
Big moves, man. Look at you.
Yeah. Not this weekend, but the following weekend is their grand opening. Now, it is a mud park. They got obstacle courses. They got some trails. They have the drag strip. And Raul, the owner, has told me that they're working on getting some monster trucks in. So they're going to be doing multiple things there. So not everything's completed, you know what I mean? But the next weekend is going to be their first grand opening. So I'm going down there, and we're going to tighten up on everything that we need to do as far as the race series. Their race, or my race at their track, will be the last one of the year. It's in November. So we got some time. That gives them some time to get everything figured out. And, it's not just me bringing races there. I'm sure there'll be others as well. So, but that's what's going on with the S.P.D.R.S. All plan is to have it guaranteed payout. We've already got some guys that's put in some money. Right now, the number one guy is Mr. RPM, Greg Laughlin. He's actually put up $12,000 to start it off with. So we got 12 right off the bat.
Hell yeah.
Got multiple other people that are going in. I would say, I'm sorry.
What was his name again?
It's Mr. RPM Cycle. And his name is Greg Laughlin.
Greg Laughlin?
Laughlin, yeah.
Shout out to Greg Laughlin for putting up $12,000.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Started out.
Let's go.
So he's his line of it is the twins, the V twins and the Can-Ams and whatnot. That's his bread and butter. That's what he's good at. He builds billet blocks, like Whalen builds his billet block. Well, Greg does his for the V twins.
All right.
So we've got two classes for that specifically, and that will be a 4x4 outlaw class and then a 4x4 and A class. So those will be guaranteed payout as well. It's all, and then we're going to have index from 320 all the way up to 50.
I was just about to say, sorry to interrupt you. Go through your list of classes that you.
So we were going to have a side-by-side outlaw, a 4x4 outlaw, a naturally aspirated 4x4 class, a sport outlaw, which would be your banshees, your sport bike, two-wheel drive. And then we're going to have 10 index classes starting at 320, ending at 50, all by 2/10. So 320, 340, 360, 380, all the way to 5.
Wow.
And then we're going to do brackets. We'll have one big bracket class. And then, of course, we're going to throw in the kids. So we'll have the kids.
Gotta have kids.
Total, there's going to be 16 classes at each race right now. Wow. So including the kids. Awesome. Now, I can't guarantee how much that we're going to be able to, or I'm going to be able to guarantee to these races, because whatever money comes in will be divided by 6 and then divided again per class. It's my first year doing it. I'm not expecting guys to come out of the woodwork and say, oh my gosh, Applegate's putting the show on. We got to put all this money in. I'm not expecting that at all. I just hope that we have a good year. It goes well, and then maybe next year we can really get the big money. You know what I mean? It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. The good thing is, though, the entry fee is going to be kept low, and 75% of the entry fee is going on top of these guys' guaranteed payout. So whatever they put in, they're getting 75%. More, because we got to help. Man, there's a lot to it. I had to start an LLC to do it, because if the money, like Greg, gave me 12. If I put that in my personal bank account, that's not going to go very well with Uncle Sam. So I had to start an LLC. But yeah, I'm learning a lot on it, and I've got a lot of really good guys, man. If I mention them, I'm going to miss somebody, and I don't want to do that. So
for sure.
But there's a lot of people that has been a huge help to me. So I'm excited for it. Our first race is May 2nd through the 4th at Lumber River. That'll be the first one.
All right, Lumber River. That's awesome. Yeah. Can you run through the list of tracks that all the races are at again?
Yeah, actually, I'll just read them off to you here. May 2nd through the 4th is Lumber River in Maxton, North Carolina. June 13th through the 16th is Silverback Off-Road Speedway in Mears, Michigan.
Okay.
July 26th to the 27th, is Shelton's Dirt Drag, Stanford, Kentucky.
All right.
August 22nd through the 24th is Greens Raceway, presented by Fowler Racing. I want to tell you right now, I do not know how to pronounce this. It's in Virginia. Let's put it that way. It's Dispatuna something. Whoever named this town, I don't know. But anyways, it's a very strange name. And then we got September 26th through the 28th is Little Sandy Raceway there in Grayson, Kentucky. And then we end it November 14th through the 16th, South Georgia Motorsports Park at Dell, Georgia. So that's the races. And it's if you go on Facebook, it'll be under Southern Power Sports Drag Racing Series, and that's where all the info will be. And as soon as we know what money comes in, I'm hoping first, second week of April, we'll be able to actually decide, hey, this is what we got. This is how much is going to each race. My goal is at least take 10,000 each race. Don't know if that'll happen, but I would love to be able to take 10,000 each race.
Oh, dude,
wow, that's awesome.
You're doing great. Thanks here, Dave. Even just being kind of new to it too. You're just hopping right into it. Look at you. You're giving it.
Yep. We're going for it.
You're giving a knockout punch early. And shout out to Dave for doing all this.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Also, just for like anybody who listens to this and isn't like into like sand drags or dirt drags, mud drags, whatever has paddle tires, 5 states for a series.
Oh,
That's really good. That's big. That's kind of big time.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it's huge.
I haven't seen anybody do it the way that I'm doing it, and I spent a lot of time in the garage, just hanging out. Like, how can I make this interesting? And I started off with 2 tracks, and I went to 3. Then I had 2 tracks call me, and then I had another one I matched out to. Next thing you know, I got 6. And my buddy Steven Hacker's like, "Hey, dude, it's enough. You don't think you need no more? That's good. Hold it right there." So, and I don't know, man. We're going for it. Why not? Hey, at the end of it, nobody can say we didn't try if it doesn't work. That's the way I look at it.
There you go.
For sure, Isaac, you got to go to the Silverback race.
Yeah, we'll do our best, man. We'll see what happens.
Well, actually, I need to. I'm glad that you mentioned Silverback. So Silverback doesn't have a lot of the 4x4 stuff. Your regular V-twin stuff. There's limited up there. So I have talked to Brody and Kyle there at Silverback, and we are and Greg Laughlin. He knows about it and he's okay with it. We are deleting the 2 4x4 classes, and we're going to add 1 full-size class. And hopefully Brody don't get upset at me, but I'm pretty confident that we have decided that we will be going with top eliminator. So we're going to see some hopefully some 2.7s, 2.8s out of these blower cars and all that stuff. And I really think that'll help out the different crowds, because your power sports guys don't always go to the full size, and the full size don't always go to the power sports. So hopefully at that track we can kind of get them together and they can all see what we all do together. So it's going to be pretty interesting at Silverback. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
that'd be a heck of a race.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a great race. Getting rid of the 4x4 classes and putting in top eliminator. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Just because there's not a lot of that style of a 4-wheeler that race up there. Down south, they're everywhere. Up there, there's just not enough. Not enough of them.
Yeah.
So.
If they're running 2.7s or 2.8s in top eliminator, they're going way too fast. But 2.7s or 2.8s is still really cool, though.
So, and the idea is the money that would be guaranteed for those 2 4x4 classes is still going to go to that top eliminator that Brody and Kyle was telling me about. So that money is going to go into them. So they'll have that. Yeah. And there is another sponsor coming in for that race up there. Probably shouldn't say who it is right now because we're still working on the money, but I can tell you that single class for these full-size vehicles up there is going to be well worth going to. I will promise you that. it's
Well,
going to
nice.
happen.
How dare you tease us like that?
I can't. I know.
But
The guys asked me that they're doing it, but he said let's hold off. He wants it to be a surprise. I said,
all
okay.
right, fine. Well, it'd be a surprise.
Hey, that could be a new segment on Paddle Talk. The rumor
Yeah.
mill.
The
Give us your
rumor
best
mill.
rumor of the
Oh,
week.
we don't need any
The
of
rumor
that.
wheel. Yeah.
We don't need that.
Spin the wheel.
And speaking of that, Murray Power Sports is also a huge help with me in this S.P.D.R.S. or Speeders, because they are my go-to person for all my banners, the decals, the shirts, and all that. And they're a huge help to me. So that's going to be that's another sponsor that's in there as well. So,
Well,
Shout out, man. Nice. Way to
shout
go.
out to Speeders. Shout out to Murray Power Sports. You can look up
Southern Power Sports, yeah.
Southern
Power Sports Dirt Drag Series.
Thank you. I was going to mess it up. Southern Power Sports
Dirt Drag Racing Series. We'll get it right.
You can find them on Facebook. Say it one more time, Dave, before I mess it up.
That's all right. Southern Power Sports Dirt Drag Racing Series.
There you go. You can find it
There you go.
on Facebook. Add yourself to the page, and you can see everything Dave's got going on. He's doing great work, and that's awesome. And all right, you cheating sandbaggers. Let's move on to the hot topic that Isaac actually brought up, and I'll actually let Isaac lead with this, with bringing it up and his opening statement on it. Go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah, so caught me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie, a little disappointing because I never had a chance to get there, but got news this week. I'm sure everybody probably saw it. Bullrun very abruptly kind of closing. Didn't know that there was an issue there. And Bullrun Raceway, what's the town again, Billy? Where it's at?
Rogers, Ohio.
Closing up. I thought they had a killer logo. I always thought that was great.
Oh yeah, they had the coolest logo in sand drags for sure.
That thing was sweet. So kind of bummed I never got to make it there. But yeah, they are closing, and that's I think that's going to leave a decent void over there. Sounds like the guys that have been there really liked it. Thought it was a really good facility. So just kind of bummed to hear that that's kind of going down. So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of grief on Facebook after that announcement, to be honest.
Yeah. And if I remember right, the Facebook page, when they announced it, was a very short paragraph. They just, thank you for all your support, blah, blah, blah. But at this time, it was very short and not very descriptive.
Well, they opened that motocross track too. So I figured, people were just going riding every day. That would help them out. But they closed the motocross track too. So it's unfortunate, but maybe it's understood, maybe it's not. I went there only one time when they tried to do that big money bracket race deal 2 nights in a row. It was like handful of years ago. It was 2 nights. You went 16 grand on one night, 16 grand on the other night. That didn't really end the way they wanted to. It got rained out. Everybody got mad about what happened there. Not really going to speak much about that. A bunch of people asked for the money back. The word is he didn't really give it to them, and so people he did give it to, they were just didn't gel together after that. So, but me myself, after the race got called, me and my brother went back to the track from the hotel. We woke up, seeing that they called the race, went back to the track, gone. Nobody's there. Like everybody, like the Rose were there, Coles were there, a bunch of people were there. Everybody was there. And it just well, me and my brother showed up, everybody was gone, and then we proceeded to just hang out. Well, Cody doesn't drink. I did a lot back then. So we were drinking some beers and they were making some food. So we were like just hanging out, partying in the rain afterwards. I thought that was kind of cool. But it's just kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to run that race. Because I was really looking forward to that because there were a lot of people there, and 32 grand is a lot of money to win at a sand drag race. So
yeah.
But No, like Isaac said, it's like abrupt news. Like nobody was expecting that. They're like, okay, waiting on the schedules, and then all of a sudden,
boom!
Oh, we just lost a track. Oh,
yeah.
And then what's it? There's another track that's like 5 minutes down the road. God, what is the name of that place? Tri-County? Is that what that is?
Could be.
Oh,
they only announced they're having 4 races this year or something.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I don't remember the name of it.
I think it's Tri-County. I think
Tri-County 4-wheelers or something.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, they were only like 5 minutes down the road. We drove by their gate on the way to Bullrun, and we were like, did we just pass another track? What was that? Like, it was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, Tri-County's still open, which is good. The bad is they only got 4 races this year, opposed to, well, I don't really know how many more they ran before, but the reactions I saw on their Facebook was like, why we only have 4 races? And it's like, ooh, well,
I don't know that we might be thinking of something else. I'm on Tri-County 4-wheelers page now. January 7th.
I can look at it. I can actually go.
They have, oh, I see what you're saying. Sand drags.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
They only got 4 sand drags.
4, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
but they're doing. But it looks like they're doing good with everything else. They got plenty there. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Lisbon, Ohio. Okay, Lisbon, Ohio. I should have known that because that is Matt and Zora Peters' home track. Zora Waters Peters, excuse me. And Matt Peters' home track. Shout out Matt Peters.
If we're gonna shout out Matt Peters, dude. That guy's got the cleanest shop I've ever seen. I had jealousy when I saw that thing. Body hanging on the wall, all the tires like lined up correctly and everything. I'm like, what the heck, dude? Way to make
his tire wall is fucking cool. I saw
it is awesome. Dude, come on, help a brother out here, all right? I mean, you look at this crap behind me here. Come on.
I thought he was a school teacher. I didn't think school teachers made that kind of. No, I'm just kidding.
Is he? I don't know. I seriously have no idea.
I'm pretty sure he's a school teacher.
That would make sense why he's organized then and why I'm not.
I think all of us that's into this, whether it's dirt, blacktop, sprint car, whatever, we all in our garage have a little wall of shame behind us, a little shelf with broken rods and pistons and whatever else on there. I mean, I think we all have that. And then our beer fridge, it's covered with all the really expensive stickers that we buy to put on, you know what I mean, to fix the little shelf of shame.
That's right.
So, I'd like to see this dude's garage though with the tires and all that. That'd be pretty cool.
Add him on Facebook. Matt Peters. Yeah. He's a hell of a guy. He's nicest guy, one of the nicest guys you ever meet. And Zora's a hell of a racer. And he had a
CJ race body hanging on the wall. It was awesome.
No kidding.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, that thing is sweet.
Oh, shoot.
I've been loving these old photos that Derek Howard's been posting lately.
You were talking about that earlier.
I just absolutely.
So, Billy, you say old. I mean, what are we talking? Like, 70s?
How old are you? How old are you? And we'll go.
No, I want to know what you're thinking. Because if you say like 2010, that's it, man.
No. He's posting these for like, I remember these from like I was a kid. Let me see. Hold on a second. Here, first of all, I'm gonna make this easier on us. I'll probably have to cut this out, but no, you go to his Facebook and it's like, it's the only thing he's posted in the last like month. It's just all these old photos. So hold on a second and I'll show you exactly what I mean, because all I got to do is go here. Somebody talk about something. It's way too quiet right
now. I like seeing the old stuff from like Glen Helen, California. Back when, I remember when I first started to race it. Oh, was that you again?
It is.
Like, what the heck? Back when I first started racing, early 90s, there was a group, they would send out a full semi or two of cars from what is now Silverback Off-Road, but at that point in time was Silver Lake Sand Dragway. They would load up 2 full semis worth of cars and send them out west to do a true east meets west, type of deal. And I remember seeing pictures from that, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I mean, that was just unbelievable to me, see those cars out there. And, I think they ran Verona once possibly, and just really, really, I thought I love seeing those old pictures like that,
No, we lost him altogether now.
What in the world?
Well, he's got to edit that out, right? Oh, he's putting the pictures on there. Oh, that's cool. All right. How in the world did he do that?
I have no idea.
That's Billy, our IT guy.
Yeah, right.
Look, if he gets a text, you'll be able to see it up top because we can see it. We can see who's texting him or whatever. So you're telling me that
he's not coming.
That Silverback used to be called, what was it again? Because it was West.
When I first started racing there, Dave, probably early 90s, it was Silver Lake Sand Dragway. Then it went to West Michigan Sand Dragway. Then it went to West Michigan Motorsports Park, and now it's Silverback Off-Road Raceway.
Oh, okay. I knew it was West Michigan before, Brett and Brody and them got it, but I didn't know.
Yeah, track's been around a long time. I mean, I think that track's been around since late 80s, probably.
Really? How close are you?
The first time I ever went there was 93, and they'd already been racing a couple of years before that.
How close is it for you?
From my house, probably hour and a half. Not bad.
Yeah. Takes me, last time I went was 16, right at 16 hours.
Woo!
Pulling the trailer.
I forgot I muted my mic.
There you are.
I've been trying to.
You muted yourself?
I did, and I've been trying to say stuff this whole time. Because I was talking about Derek's pictures that pulled up, and I totally forgot. I was trying to talk to you guys, and I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot that I was muted."
We were seeing what was on your phone.
Dave and I carried it, so you're good.
I thought you guys did a great job. Thank you. But yeah. Well, let's take a quick break, and then hopefully Caleb will join us soon for the race recap of Dome Valley.
Yeah, that looked great out there.
Yeah, Dome looked cool.
Man, is it Hickey? Am I right? Eric Hickey?
Yeah, Eric Hickey.
Dude, I want to meet that. I want to meet that guy.
We will talk about what we know in just a minute. We will talk about what we know about the race in just a minute. We're going to take a short break. We're going to give an ad read real quick, and then we'll be back with some more paddle talk in just a minute. This is an ad read. Not really an ad read. This is more of a shout out for Hickey Racing. Shout out Hickey Racing. Eric and Glenn Hickey. Glenn Hickey, top eliminator racer out on the West Coast. His son Eric, Pro 1 racer, and now top eliminator racer, taking the win in Dome. Shout out to Hickey Racing for always supporting WSDN, getting Caleb to those races out in the West Coast. Hickey Racing. You can find Eric Hickey on Facebook, and he's getting some new race shirts ordered, so you can get your own Hickey Racing shirt with his badass altered and his dad's badass dragster on there. Both now racing top eliminator. So go get you a shirt from Eric Hickey. You can find him on Facebook. Shout out Hickey Racing for supporting WSDN, World Sand Drag News, covering West Coast events, mainly California and Dome Valley. We welcome in, excuse me, I don't know what happened to my mouth there. We welcome in Caleb Mings. Caleb, introduce yourself to the people.
How's it going, guys? Good to be back here. Finally making an episode. I know we only done 2 of these, but no, I'm jumping in the middle of this one here. Just to give you guys a little bit of background on myself. Been a West Coast racer, bike guy since I was 4. My dad kind of is the patriarch, got the whole family involved in sand drag racing from an early age. Been doing it my whole life, slowly stepping things up to bigger and better things as we could afford it. You know, we're still pretty budget guys out here.
Budget racers for life, yes.
As far as what I do for World Sand Drag News, I kind of got brought on by Billy and Cody pretty early on as they started to expand this thing. I do a lot of the design and marketing stuff. That's what I do for work. So just kind of doing that. Got the website up and running. We kind of all cumulatively brought together world records and stuff, but any of the graphic design things you'll see from World Sand Drag News, that's me behind the scenes. The photo edits, I can't take all credit for all the photography done. Obviously Billy, Damien, Cody jumps in there a little bit. You know, edits, I get on those. I got some photos I got to go through from Dome Valley, and I know we're gonna be talking a little bit of a recap from there and some cool things coming up.
Yeah, before we went on our little break for that ad read, I was just, me and Dave and Isaac were just about to talk about the only things we know that happened from Dome Valley, and which are, I mean, I guess maybe the most popular things because we know about them, but who knows? But I'll let Caleb. You got your winners list?
I do.
I'll let you go ahead and go through your recap of winners and
sure, yeah.
So
we did miss a coverage on Friday, but was able to get a list of winners for the Friday action there. Friday they kicked off. They had a couple index classes for the cars. 395 index. That's a pretty popular class out here on the West Coast. We saw Mike Brock in the Thorn in Your Side dragster taking first over Eric Brown. Eric, that's the debut of his new ride. It's a PAL racing machine, new motor in it. Big block Chevrolet, I believe. Ran them pretty good out there. First time out with the machine, took second place in 395.
What day was that?
That was on Friday. So this is all our Friday event stuff. That wasn't there for, so sorry. No photos from that day.
How dare you?
They had a 450 index class. Braden Root took the win over Jared Crawford. And then Jared went and took the Friday Car Gambler win over Craig Durning. And then the Friday ATV Gambler, we saw Brad Olson taking the win over Mike Brock. So Mike getting some podium finishes there on Friday. I was told that Brad
Olson with the fuzzy quad.
The fuzzy quad. People know that's a woolly mammoth quad out in the West Coast here. Super
Caleb.
Consistent bracket racer.
Caleb, sorry to interrupt. Can you explain what you mean by the gambler so people understand what that means on that?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Something that we don't hear a lot out east.
Gotcha. So probably East Coast, this would basically just be like a big bracket class. So what they typically do is basically it's an open ET bracket. You go in there, you set your dial-in time. There's no cap bottom or top. Most of the time it's a pro light. Occasionally we see some sport lights in there, but usually it's pro light. Depending on the track,
light open bracket class.
Open bracket. I know that you guys call it like
light?
On a pro light. Yep. So it creates some interesting dynamics there. Obviously, that open ET, you can have a guy with a stock, Razor running 7 flat, and somebody can run a Pro 1 car running 320, and they can race each other.
That's freaking crazy.
But usually, sometimes it's winner take all. Sometimes it's a split first and second, but it's just a money class. Obviously, across the U.S. There's lots of different formats. They call that different. Sometimes just a bracket. You guys call it. You guys have like open comp or something like that, Billy, in Thunder Valley.
We call it pro comp.
The 50-50. The 50-50
Oh, yeah,
class.
the 50-50.
Yeah, that's
well, we actually stole that from Michigan, to be honest, because they did it one time. I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
That's usually how it works.
Hey, you know what? I think it's all fair game when it comes to that stuff, and Michigan's pretty good about having some cool class names. So
they really are.
But yeah, Brad got a 002 light. He was really trying to get. They had a $100 bonus to a perfect reaction time. I don't think anybody got it that event, but he came pretty darn close with that 002. Moving on to Saturday, they had two sport car classes. So sports car 1, Craig Durning in the Eugene the Jeep rear engine car took the win over Richard Cisneros.
Dude, Isaac was just saying about Craig Durning was just been on a tear lately.
He really has.
He's always on a tear.
He's a very good bracket racer. And that Jeep is deadly consistent. And yeah, as long as he doesn't go red, he's usually earning some top marks there. Sports car 2, we saw Jared Crawford again. This time taking the win over Kenzie Rex. This is Kenzie's second time out with her new car.
Kenzie got second?
Yep.
Nice.
They're still having some bugs that they're working out with that car.
They put that little blower on that. They got that little blower on that car still?
No, you're probably thinking of Mike Carlson. He's got a little blower on.
No, they put there's like a little teeny tiny blower on that Kenzie's car, I thought.
No, it's just the intake scoop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Take that off.
Sports 1, ATV. Mike Brock took the win over Marco Navarro. So we saw Mike Brock. He's got obviously, if anybody you guys that have been paying attention to the West Coast over the years, Mike Brock has been a name on the West Coast. He's got a whole giant stacker trailer full of bikes and his car. So I think this was on his laydown bike.
Yes.
Sports 2 ATV was Heath McCrary taking the win over Grant Atkins.
Shout out to Heath McCrary for just running what is that? Is that stock Polaris?
It was a stock. I don't know if it was a Polaris or Kawasaki. It was like a utility quad. So, but yeah. I mean, hey, those things are deadly consistent. I'm looking at the picture on
Facebook. Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Heath. Look at him go.
Something really cool that I was super glad to see on the Saturday Car Gambler. We saw Kenny Hayes back out.
Okay.
He's been away from the sport a little bit.
He has a passenger with him.
That's his new girlfriend. So she was in the car with him all weekend. It was super cool. Like, she was having a blast, and we were joking around that she was his good luck charm. He did have his other drag Jeep out, but had some issues with that, so that got parked, and Dune Jeep came out, and she was in the passenger seat and got a pretty good payday there.
Kenny's got a girlfriend. Okay, Kenny, let's go. Shout out to Kenny Hayes. Kenny Hayes
is an awesome dude.
Kenny
and,
Hayes is a dog.
He definitely traveled quite a bit.
He gave me a ride in that white and blue Jeep, Larry Miner Jeep.
Oh yeah.
And it was awesome. It felt like a rocket
ship.
So
that's the Jeep he brought out, his drag Jeep. It's got I don't know, it's black right now, black primer, so he's working on getting it painted. I think it's got a new motor combo in it. If I'm not mistaken. If not, it's at least just a freshened up one. But he's gonna work through the bugs on that, and hopefully we'll see him out in some more races on the West Coast. I know that he's unfortunately not going to make the Lake Elsinore race at the end of the month here. He said he's got some plans, but we'll see. There's plenty of racing left on the West Coast. And Kenny, if you guys know, he often travels to places like Atoka and stuff, so we may see him out more for the 2024 season.
If I see Kenny in Atoka, I'll freak out again. Every time I see anybody from the West Coast, I freak out just because I'm like, why are you here? Although Memorial Day weekend at Atoka is a blast.
It really is. So he took the win over Braden Root. And the Saturday ATV Gambler, Mike Brock, taking first place again on his laydown. He got me in the final there. I will say that I did tree him.
It was on the laydown.
He was on the laydown.
The pictures
but,
of the pictures of the
oh shoot, you're right. Never mind. He wasn't on his laydown that time. I lied. He brought out the GPZ.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
I
see,
love that
I
thing.
forget. He
I
goes
love
and
that
bounces
thing.
back and forth between those bikes all the time. So,
I
but
love that thing. It is
I did
great.
tree him, but that was actually on my my new weight class bike, and
Okay.
got my attention a little bit. Went a little sideways out of the hole, and pedal job. You can't
why'd
do
you
that
do that?
against Brock.
No, you can't.
So
Why'd you do that?
moving on to Sunday, we saw Top Alcohol. Nick Schultzman taking the win over Jim Nafziger from the Yabba Dabba Doo racing crew. Nick putting on a clinic with the Blue Bayou altered. Ran a best of a 271 with a 7, which that beats the current Top Alcohol altered record. And we'll get talking a little bit about that a little bit later on here.
I have watched that video numerous times. Just the video you put on there with his making that run. It sounds so good going down that track.
Yeah.
Is that a Hemi?
That is a Hemi. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Full on Brad Anderson Hemi. It's a serious combo. Top Eliminator. So Top Eliminator saw a little bit of a light field, but Eric Hickey got the win over Terry Crawford. Some Vegas boys doing battle there. So that's Eric's second time around the class. He did try to step up into it, I believe, the last Dome event. This is the first time where he was in the class from the get-go. Running some near career best times. We're not going to talk about his beam jumping because I'll never hear the end of it. Sorry, Eric, you didn't run a 70.
Oh man!
But I will give him credit. That pass was a pretty strong running pass, and I've jokingly said to him that it was a 3089. That's the best I'm going to give him. But he went out there, didn't have the fastest car in the field, but was consistent and stayed green. That was the real key to his victory in Top Eliminator. Pro 1, we saw Arnold Cox, another one of the kind of West Coast OGs, taking the win over Eric Hickey. Eric was pulling double duty.
That car's kind of cool.
Mike Brock again in Pro 2, again with a thorn in your side dragster, taking the win over Jared Crawford. So we're going to see Jared and Mike Brock a lot throughout the rest of this.
Caleb,
Pro 3.
Caleb, yep. I'm sorry, just to kind of teach us all over here in the east side. Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3. What are they running? I mean, what kind of vehicles is this for?
Those are all car UTV classes. So they are bracket classes. There's just ET brakes to kind of keep them. Okay. These are all on a pro tree system. So it's just to keep the cars a little bit closer together versus those gambler classes where you may have to wait a long time. I want to say Pro 1 is 310 to 374. Pro 2 is 375 to 425, and Pro 3 is 426 to 6 flat. Off the top of my head, I'm not the car guy, so that's okay. Just what I'm remembering.
Kind of like an index, maybe.
Is not really an index. It still is a bracket on class. It's just all the cars that are kind of the top end of the class or the bottom of the class. That would be the slowest or fastest you could dial in that class. Gotcha. So it is cool. That's why we're seeing people like Jared Crawford, who's right on the breaking point between Pro 2 and Pro 3, kind of runs at that 425 mark. So he may run like a 420, let's say, in Pro 2, and then the quickest or the quickest he can dial in Pro 3 would be that 426. So he has to sandbag a little bit. But we'll see a lot of competitors that that they're right on that breaking point. Hey, we're okay here. We're not going to get into the sandbag proof timing systems on this, but maybe next episode. Maybe next episode. Moving on into Pro 1 ATV. They didn't have any Pro 2 ATV bikes entered in Sunday, at least enough to make a class. So they had Pro 1 ATV. Again, Mike Brock taking the win over Brad Olson.
Wow.
In the juniors kids classes, we saw in the juniors, which at Dome Valley, they bring all the kids, regardless of their vehicle type, into the same class. It's just based off of age. So the juniors is your older kids. That's all a big bracket class. Sport tree for them. We saw Aubrey Fauché taking the win over her teammate, Drake
That's
McCrary.
how you say it.
And then in the Pee-wees category, Aubrey Pena on her new bike, she's stepping up to the drag frame from the Pena Racing Camp, took the win over Aspen Brown.
Hey, Aubrey Pena.
Caleb, who's so you said thorn in your side dragster is Mike Brock. Whose car was that before Mike's?
That was Al Thorne. So Al Thorne had that car. He also, probably back in the day when you were back out here for Prim stuff, Isaac, Al also had I think it was a GSX-R 1000 powered mini buggy.
Yep, I remember both those cars. So I wondered which one it was that Mike was running now. So interesting.
Yep, and that car is an awesome little dragster. It's a little shorter wheelbase, but runs right there at that 395, 390. It's a pretty consistent car, and Mike does definitely continue on the winning ways that Al had with that car as well.
Yeah, that car always knew how to go around.
Definitely. Some cool things we saw. We talked a little bit about it. Nick Schultzman running that 271.7. He ran a 275.1. I think that's the post that we put up on it, cut out from the live feed there. And we're like, man, that's a good backup. And we were doing the math and crunching numbers, and it's like, okay, he can run a 72.3 and use that 75.1 as a backup. As we know, WSDN records, we require a 1% backup.
1%.
And 1% EP and mile an hour track separately. And unfortunately, man, he ran too quick with that 71. He also broke his own mile an hour record. Current mile an hour record he owns at 125.56 miles an hour. He went 125.57. And so he was trying to back up both of those in the final of Top Alcohol. And both him and Jim had to do a little bit of a pedal job, and he slowed down to like a 280 something for the win.
Yeah, I saw that on the live feed.
And definitely down on the mile an hour. I think he was only like 102 or something on that. So we didn't get to see the record broken there. The folks at Dome Valley were gracious enough to give him another attempt at that, and unfortunately, still had to do a little bit of a pedal job on that. It didn't quite run the number. So says, well, that's okay. They're gonna load the car back up, and he's gonna try back at Lake Elsinore at the end of the month.
Did he line up in the right lane for this exhibition?
Yeah, right lane for the exhibition pass.
And he lined up in the middle of the lane, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, what he should have done was scoot over to the right a little bit,
just a little bit.
So he could have kept in it as he kept going.
You know,
I noticed that.
Hindsight's 2020, though. They did do a really good prep for that pass, though. So I mean, he had a clean track. I don't know if it's just it hit the bar a little hard, because I mean he was coming out of the hole pretty hard on that machine. Maybe just unloaded the rear tires a little bit. Could have also just grabbed a little bit of a hard spot on the track there.
Possibly.
With
Aubrey
Nick's car.
Fauché. What's up, Isaac?
With Nick's car, even though he's not running nitromethane, would that car be legal to go after the funny car record that Charlie Brown's had forever?
So technically, yes.
We call it top fuel altered, but yeah.
It's top fuel altered, but technically it's any fuel. So if he goes out there and breaks it, I mean, any fuel does include methanol. So
well, that's like a 69. Yeah. That's like a 69, isn't it? It's not. They're not.
It is. It is.
No,
but man, that number's been up there forever. That'd be. I mean, I just think it'd be awesome to see Nick chase that a little bit, and to see that happen, because yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where I'll be honest, when it happened, I thought, holy cow, I don't know the next time anybody's getting anywhere close to that. And finally, good night. It's got to be 15 years maybe since that happened,
15,
maybe more.
20 years. Let me look it up here. I'm trying to remember when he said that.
Well,
But yeah, it's been a minute.
Not to mention that the current record holder has plans of going to Southern California, and him and Nick Schultzman could be at the same race, competing against each other. And I don't even know if it comes down to the record at that point or just winning that goddamn race and moving on and getting the victory. You know what I mean? But
Definitely.
It's definitely. I kicked my mic stand. It's definitely going to be interesting in the coming weeks. I don't even know when they plan on going. I haven't talked to them. I probably should.
So we're looking at that top fuel altered record that Isaac was mentioning. That was set at Verona, California, which is now an 8th-mile pavement track, June of the year 2000. So we're looking 24 years that record has stood. I'll give Charlie a little bit of credit there.
How long was it? I'm sorry. How long was it?
2000.
2000.
24 years ago.
20.
Charlie was the last top fuel short car to be out in the sand, though.
For sure.
So he definitely pushed the envelope there. But I mean, let's be honest. I don't think anybody here would have ever thought that an alcohol altered would be pushing 60s.
No, that's crazy.
Or even as deep as the 70s as they went, with Farwick with his 74.
Agreed.
And Nick with his 71. You know, I mean,
and keep in mind, Nick has been a 69.9, I believe, once. Didn't back it up. That was, I think, the first time out with the new Hemi combo.
I do remember
So
that.
I mean, he's tickled those numbers, and it's just a matter of getting a good straight pass and getting it to hook up. And I know, Farwick, he's planning on coming out, I think, for the April race. I think he had told me. So him and I know Cody Trice are planning to make the haul out here. We'll see if the Monigs join along. I know they like to come out together as well.
Yeah,
but it'll be cool to get some.
Hopefully they're not cheating this time.
Quickest jet change ever
in history.
In the history of the sport.
And you can't tell.
That's a world record.
You can't tell Greg nothing about that. You can't.
Some other cool things. I know the junior dirt drag records. We saw Aubrey
National
Crochet
Junior
with
Dirt
that.
Drag. Shout out to Armstrong. Guy's first name, but Armstrong's his last name. Shout out to that guy for doing this. And before y'all get all hyped about these kids' records, no, the records from last year don't carry over. He chops them off when the new year starts, and he restarts it all. And I'm all good with that until this little girl with this badass go-kart runs the very first 6-second pass with a go-kart in sand drags in the last 2 years, to our knowledge. And she runs a 686 in this go-kart. Was that a Predator?
That is a Predator motor they've got. It's a new chassis for them. Something they've been working on home built. And then they did get a new clutch on it. So that's where a little bit of the ET picked up. They got paddles on it now. They've been kind of going back and forth with paddles and the knobbies. But
torque converter or clutch on it?
It's a clutch.
Bullshit. I gotta call this guy.
Hey man, it's just like yours. It's just it's a little bit different chassis and stuff, and Dome's a good track for that. Dome's a really good track.
We're gonna have to have a segment, Junior Paddle Talk, and Teeters can go off on all the junior stuff.
Yeah, I'll just start bitching about how everybody stuff's faster than my kid's go-kart.
I'll tell you what, I got to meet the Armstrong family there at Lumber River.
Oh, you did? You did an interview with them? Yeah.
Yes, man, that is a very good family. And he's got big dreams for what he's doing, and I am tickled to see it because obviously NHRA's had junior dragsters and IHRA for a number of years, and it's really cool to see that coming into the dirt. That's a cool thing that he's doing.
Yeah, it
Really
really
good.
is. I like
Yep.
it that he resets it every year. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's definitely a cool thing. Now he does also carry over a legacy of the quickest ever for each of those categories. So he's keeping that kind of like on a separate shelf,
Yeah,
but then
for
every year
sure.
he's doing a reset on it so that
His fast 5.
everybody can still get there. And then this also keeps it fair for, like, let's say he's keeping this strictly to kids. So I think he's doing 16 and under, if I'm not
Yes, I
mistaken.
think that's what he said was 16
16
and
and
under, I
under.
believe.
So let's say you got somebody, a 16-year-old kid, they go out there, they're starting to step up into the adult brackets. We typically see this probably more on the ATV side, but I mean, we could even see it in a junior dragster, putting a bigger motor in one of those things. Got a little kid in there, 16 years old. They're going to go and set like a crazy time. And it's going to be set so low that you can't beat it. So it's going to be nice that they're kind of graduating out of the junior ranks. That reset happens. You still get everybody that's like eligible age-wise to be able to chase those records.
For sure. Yeah. I wouldn't even think it's record chasing because he's doing national records and track records. So like,
yep.
Even if you don't get like the #1 spot in the country, as weird as that sounds for kids and sand drags, like you can still have that one at your home track. So that's pretty cool to think about.
Definitely, and they were super stoked on getting that first 6-second pass, like you're saying, Billy. So they were totally tickled.
Yeah. So I threw the fucking go-kart away. No, I'm kidding.
Well, speaking of first, I got my first sub 4 pass as well. Went 395.0.
Yeah,
So
boy, Caleb.
pretty stoked
Yeah,
on
that is
that.
pretty cool.
What was the number?
New bikes, 395.0 at like 77 something.
All
Went
right.
395.0, 395.8, 396.3. Yeah, so it was pretty consistent until it wasn't.
You could have ran 395 index and been just fine.
So tell us about your bike, Caleb. What do you got?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, so it's
Tell us what you got.
it's a weight class build. So trying to get the thing set up for the Pro Sand Drag Association ATV drag racer weight class, which is a 450-pound combined rider and bike weight minimum, and a 475cc maximum, and that's for banshee motors only, naturally aspirated. So no turbos, no blowers on them, no nitrous. It was kind of a cool class that they came up with. It's a good budget entry for people to do some heads up racing. Lots of different engine combinations that you can get to meet that 475cc max. The weight limit on there is a cool deal too, because it lets people like me that aren't exactly jockey weight have a little bit of a fighting chance. Obviously, we see a lot of those record things. They hire jockey people to go out there, and you got to be 90 pounds soaking wet to get to ride those big bikes.
Kind of like Brody Kenyer in the side by side, little bitty guy. Just throwing that out there. I don't know. Hey, Brody.
Yeah, exactly.
we're gonna have to have an episode that specifically
with Brody
about the ATV world.
Oh, for sure.
Like that. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get Brody on. There's a bunch of people.
Where's Ricky? Where's Ricky?
Ricky's doing his own podcast. He doesn't need us. He's got his own podcast.
Well, we'll just have to get on here this when he's got a giveaway. That's his new thing. He's got all those waffles.
Did he just waffle off a freaking no bar bike?
Yes.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Ricky Thorpe. If anybody doesn't know who we're talking about Ricky Thorpe.
Ricky Thorpe, good friend of the show and of WSDN too.
Yes. He is he's going through it for a little bit, but then he is rised up and he is making moves, building that no bar bike. He's talking shit again, him, Sean Reeves, and Patrick Hunt all going at it, so those ATV races are definitely going to be exciting.
That's for sure, and I'm definitely looking to when PSDA comes back out here to the West Coast. Makes it a little bit hard for. I know we got some fair representative of West Coast racers that go out to Gilbert and to Shelton's, but it's gonna be nice to have some stuff here at home. Coming in February at Dome Valley Raceway. I think there's gonna be a lot of records reset at that event. Looking to hopefully have a really good turnout. Bigger than the last one that they had there, I think.
Yeah, no excuse not to. I mean, if you're a West Coast ATV guy and you want to run fast, you should probably be there, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, you already know, like, the California guys that don't go to Elsinore and Albanol, like, they'll be there. Oregon guys will be there. JE Motorsports will be there more than likely, I bet. Ricky's already talking about going, so the Michigan crew's going to be there. I'm no way Tony Miller goes.
Yeah, Tony, it sucks because trust me, I want to see that reverse cylinder Sabre out there and just to see it in person. But
that thing in person was freaking sweet, dude. I didn't really it blew my mind because when I look at ATVs in the first place, I don't really know what I'm looking at unless it's like
unless it's something like that where it's totally unique and like you're like, hey, wait a minute, that pipe's on backwards.
Yeah.
Like, no, the whole cylinder is rotated around. So he's got the intake in the front, exhaust in the back.
It sounded awesome. It sounded amazing.
From what I heard over videos and live feeds and stuff, pretty sweet machine. So
wow.
There's gonna be builders that aren't gonna come. I get it. It's a long drive. Trust me, I understand it.
Well, you gotta go.
This economy.
You at least gotta go. You're gonna run the weight class bike there, aren't you?
That's the plan. So obviously I'm a fair bit off the current like top 10 there. I know Scott Smith, DMS Power Sports, Dalton on there, 372. That is quite the number to run on a weight class bike.
Okay, well, I got a hot take about the weight class.
Let's hear it.
Oh, here we go.
Get the fire extinguishers, folks.
Get them out. All like the list for the weight class is awesome. Like 372, like you said, that's amazing. And like other than that, like there's like not a lot of guys that win that class or close to that number or even on the list. Like what's that guy's name from Oregon? God,
Andy Seaver.
Yeah. Is he even on the list?
I think he was on like one of the very bottom numbers for a little bit, but he's not in the top 10 anymore. But you're right, it doesn't always take a killer in that number.
Class. He's a killer in that class, and he just like he's not in the top 10. So like when you talk about the weight classes, like okay, these guys are on the number, and like really when it comes to like okay, and we all know what the number is in the weight class of this 475 475 cc 450 pound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the number for that is obviously the 372 what Dalton ran, and I believe there's only two racers, and I'm probably going to piss some people off, but this is why this podcast exists. There's two people who I think can actually run the number and be competitive in the class at the same time. Number one is the guy at the top of the list is Dalton Smith. He's a killer. He really is. Number two, like he might even be more of a killer than the guy number one on the list, Eric Eschbach. Eric just kills it in that class as well. And my number three in that class is Andy Seaver. He don't run the number, but he chops the tree down and he gets it done. But those are my top three in that class. And Andy can't really run the number. And if I piss him off by saying that, I'm sorry. But those top two guys with Eric Eschbach and Dalton Smith, those guys can run the number and like chop the tree down your ass and win it.
Yep. But it takes consistency to do that the whole time, and sometimes running that number doesn't bring the consistency. It's not just reaction times; you got to go straight, got to go quick every time, and that I think is I think that's the future for a lot of the ATV stuff. Personally, getting closer to narrowing down the rule set. A lot of these cool open CC limit classes, they're really cool to watch, but we're starting to see some numbers out there that are just so astronomically crazy that it's going to take a pretty large, paycheck to be able to keep up with that. And there's increasingly fewer people that can really lay down those times to keep up with the records. And I think that, there's even in those classes, if we want to put everybody else on a top 10 list, your number 1 time compared to your number 10 time, there's going to be a much larger gap than you see in the weight class. The weight class is ultra competitive, and it's because you've got that limitation of your minimum weight. It's not just the CC. You can only do so much. All these other bikes, they're trying to get more power out of those bikes, but they're also cutting weight at the same time. That's why we see all these full titanium builds. If not, they're lightening the crap out of everything, putting as much lightweight titanium and aluminum on them as they possibly can. And
Is there
you
is
only
there a
cut out
length
so much
limit?
weight.
Is there a length limit on them too? Like, as far as they can stretch them, or what do
No
they do with
length
that?
limit. Nope. So I
Really?
mean, whatever chassis configuration you want, there's nothing on there. Now the weight class is cool that's open on the chassis, but that's one cool thing about it. You do get to see a lot of different unique builds because it's a good place for, let's say, some older chassis to really shine. Something that's not the super lightweight titanium stuff. It's a little bit older, heavy, chrome moly chassis, but it's given a lot of older bikes some new life.
Yeah, well said.
Well, hell yeah. Well, let's do a quick ad read. I know that Dome recap got a little out of hand there, but it's okay. We calmed it down.
It was good.
It was great. Thank you, Caleb, for that. We're
Yeah.
going to do a quick ad read, and then we will be back with everybody's one thing. Stay tuned. Oh, hold on.
No, where I was headed was that, Caleb was talking about the unlimited bike builds and how, it's a lot of deep pockets and that sort of thing. And you're not seeing a ton of those new builds just because of how far down the road those classes have gotten. I think it's kind of following the cars where, give it 15 years ago, how many true top fuel cars were running on the West Coast, and now who is there? That's a real top fuel car. And I think we're starting to see that guys have found, I'll say, top eliminator, 350, 395. Those index classes, I think, are just going to keep getting bigger because, guys, it's a lot easier on your wallet. You're not leaning on stuff so hard every pass. And I think it's really good for the sport because it brings a lot of, brings cars to the track. And every time there's cars to the track, it means there's people coming with them. So I think it's good all the way around.
Yeah, we're trying that over here on the East Coast this year with my series. We're going to do the index and see how it works. A lot of good positive feedback. And I got some of the idea from out west where they're doing that. And Silverback does it up there as well. So we're going for it.
Yeah, Dave, I think you're going to have a really good thing going. And, man, I'm excited to see how it pans out for you. So.
Yeah, I think it's super important to try to find that kind of like meeting point of keeping things competitive enough, but keeping it friendly enough on the paycheck that, people can actually get involved with the sport. That's where even way back in the day, West Coast, we saw everything class racing. That went away towards the bracket racing as that started to become more popular on the pavement. We saw the class racing kind of stay a lot more on the East Coast. And even that's starting to go away now. And Gravelrama not following the East Coast Four-Wheel Drive Association rules quite as stringently now. They're really the last stronghold for class racing on the car side. And it's the same thing, like you're saying, Isaac. It gets to a point where somebody has such a performance advantage over everybody else, and a lot of it comes down to dollars. And one thing I'll say about the bike side is that another issue that you have is that there's a few players that kind of hold all the cards for the real horsepower advantage in those top classes. And if you want to compete, they're not going to necessarily be so willing to give you parts that are going to beat their own team. So, there's that aspect of it as well.
Well, and you also got to remember, from the cars to dirt bikes to ATVs to side-by-sides, the manufacturers out there now, you're seeing more and more of them. So these guys got an option who they want to choose to use as their tuner or their, whoever it is they want, whatever they want to use. And when that happens, that's when we start seeing things start to gain and start to pick up. But then the big money guys come in and they put all that big money in. We get in this thing we're talking about where your average Joes just can't hang. You just can't run heads up, So it's a tough thing. I mean, it happened in blacktop drag racing, just like you said, Caleb. It happened there, and go with the flow, see where we go with this.
Budget racers unite. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna get into everybody's one thing here in just a second, but we're gonna do a quick ad read for SM Engineering, where you can design, build, and test. He's got flowed fuel systems, dyno testing, fuel management, tune-ups, consulting, race pack, data acquisition, and wiring and mechanical services. That's SM Engineering. Sam McCrary, he is one of a kind, big supporter of WSDN. He does a lot of tuning for Top Alcohol Altered record holder Kyle Farwick. So shout out to Sam. You can hit him up at promodsam@gmail.com, promodsam@gmail.com, and also his phone number 740-361-0969. That's 740-361-0969. SM Engineering, design, build, and test. Everybody's one thing. Isaac, go.
One thing. Hey, it's finally gotten cold here, but that means snow hill climb stuff coming up, snow drags, and hopefully also means that people are going to continue to get their schedules up. I'll be honest, we're not even to the end of January, and I don't remember the last time this many places had schedules for the summer out already. It's great. It makes it easier for people to start planning trips and prioritize what they want to do. So shout out to everybody. Our friend, obviously Dave included, for getting the dates out there early so people know what's going on. And I would even go one step further and say, if you are a track owner or promoter and you don't have it out, you should be working on doing it. Don't wait.
Yeah, their spots are filling up pretty quick on weekends to get people to your tracks. That's a great one thing, Isaac. You led off talking about the snow hill climb challenges. I need to get to one of those. I really do. I need to get to one of those. God dang it. Those looks like such a blast. And how far they go? Can you expand on those a little bit? Like, what's that? Did they go to where are the places they go to? I only know like two places. And one's
so
in like
there used to, kind of the original one used to be the GrizzTech Snow Challenge, which was in northern Michigan. Keys Peak, which is actually a ski place in Wisconsin, has kind of picked up that mantle. There's rumors of a snow hill climb going on in St. Ignace, just over the bridge over into the UP in Michigan, maybe this spring as well. But a lot of those, we're talking like 450 foot. I mean, you talk about, so for instance, last one I ran was at Shush Mountain, which was the GrizzTech one. Dude, I was in third gear, man. I was in unknown territory at that point. I had never pulled third gear at 300 foot. All of a sudden the shift light was back on. I'm like, holy smokes, here we go. So, I mean, it's a totally different animal. Traction is at a premium, playing with tire pressure and that sort of thing. But it's really, it's definitely way off the box of what we're used to. But very cool. You end up with some really cool stuff. And you see a lot of stuff that you don't normally see during the summer. So, because everybody's kind of consolidated, so to speak, in one area. So, yeah, very interesting. Going to do my best to get to at least one of those events this year. Kind of depends what my work schedule is and stuff, but we'll kind of have to see what happens.
Well, if you know me, you know I would love to push beyond our beloved 300 foot sometimes to see what these vehicles can run in like the 400 or 500 foot. But doing it uphill in the snow, that's wild. That's badass. Dave, your one thing.
All right. My one thing is on the east side. I've got to give it to Roxborough Motorsports Park in Timberlake, North Carolina.
Okay.
It is I believe it's IHRA blacktop track. Very nice place. And down on the left side is their dirt track. And it's been there for a number of years. Darren Huntley is the one that takes care of the dirt side of it. And he got with Roxborough. I just found this out, I believe it was this week. And many of pictures of many dump trucks, dozers. They are redoing the racetrack. It looks like they're widening it, making it wider, fixing the timing system. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think their first one is February 17th. So my goal is to be there. So I'm excited. But Darren is a very good man, good family man, and he does a really good job there. I'm looking forward to see what he's got coming up there at Roxborough. So if you guys got time, check out Roxborough. Yes, I will be. Yeah, if heading to South Georgia Motorsports Park, not this weekend, but next. If the old girl still has the, as John Whalen says, if the engine oil and the rods are still inside the block, then yeah, I'll take it on over there to Roxborough. So yeah, she's still kicking. It's got almost 1,000 runs on it. So yeah, and it's still a stock X3 engine. So we'll see how it does. But yeah, either way, I might just shoot up there even if I don't take the car. But I have all plans on going up there and doing some racing and see how it does.
Well, that's great.
Definitely excited for Darren and his brother. I always say his name wrong, but I think it's Trevon. He's got those guys. It's Huntley Brothers Racing. Actually, they are really well known in the blacktop with these banshees and stuff. So, but yeah, that's my one. I'm excited about Roxborough. I can't wait to see it.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Roxborough opening up the dirt track again. That's gonna be great.
Yes.
That's gonna be great. And they're gonna what all classes did they run there?
So the last few years they've got full plastics, I believe. They've got the big man. They call it big man over here, I believe. Side by sides, 4x4. They didn't have a tree. The tree kind of got messed up. There were some people out there that know what happened there that day. It was after we knew the guy was okay. It was kind of quite comical, but anyways, the tree's getting fixed, so they have not been able to do any bracket or anything like that. But once that tree gets in there, I'm assuming he's going to have some more classes.
Good deal.
Yeah,
that is great.
It's a fun place. Really good group of guys.
That's awesome. That is indeed awesome. Okay, Caleb, what is your one thing?
Well, my one thing, we've got the Lake Elsinore race coming up here end of January, the 26th or 28th, and I have my fingers crossed, I have my toes crossed, and every other part of my body crossed that we're going to see Tristan Graham out with his new Hemi combination in the AA buggy. He desperately wants to get that AA buggy record away from Rick Morris, and all the little bickering back front I've heard is that if that record gets broken, we may see the heavy metal buggy make a return to the sand. Sitting in the shop. They're just waiting. We're waiting on how low that record can get lowered. It's a tall task, 279 in a buggy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Tristan get out there. Hopefully he's getting all the parts he needs to finish up that build, and we'll see what it does.
That's moving.
Yeah. That, Caleb, correct me if I'm wrong. When Rick said that was still big block Chevy, correct? That was not a Hemi at that point.
That was a big block Chevy. You're correct on that. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, all everything points to the amount of power that a Hemi can make. Like that's a much more serious combination. It's just gonna be tuned and trying to get that thing to go straight. And I know that's pretty difficult to do with a little bit shorter wheelbase. Those buggies, suspended. It's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
I love dune buggies, first of all, and I grew up loving it. I grew up racing one when I was 14, and whenever I was a kid, and I would see these PSDA online images of Rick Morris's buggy, just with the tire growth and looking so violent as it did, just in the pictures itself. Oh my God. I just wish I could see it one day. And I did when I was in 8th grade in Prairie, Nevada. It was one of the greatest moments of my whole life. But that car is one of my all-time favorites. And if Tristan, I am rooting for Tristan all the way. I really am.
Hey, it's not time for Lake Elsinore picks yet. Come on. That's next week.
I'm just talking about running the number. I'm rooting for Tristan.
All right. I think we all are.
Yeah, for sure. So my one thing, and it's not really pertaining to anything around my area, I'm gonna take mine and throw it out to the West Coast. Shout out to Dominic Pena. Dominic Pena with his 358cc Banshee based engine and his drag bike. He ran a 396.9 at 75.03 miles an hour. And I just think it's really cool watching kids progress from small bikes or small go-karts into bigger bikes, bigger cars, stuff like that. It's just really awesome to see. And I remember when I first went out to the West Coast and I saw Dominic, I'm pretty sure it was that maybe or same base or same bike as his little sister Aubrey was running.
Yeah. Aubrey is now on Dom's old bike. That's a little like 125cc,
right?
Something rather on there. And I got to give a big shout out to the whole Pena racing team. Jaime was a huge help for us this weekend. We had a pretty bad weekend.
Is that how you
for
say his
racing.
name? Jaime.
Yeah.
Jaime. I've been calling him Jamie in my whole life.
I'm sure he doesn't mind.
The whole time I know
he's an easygoing dude.
calling him Jamie. That's hilarious. Jaime.
No,
okay.
Jaime.
Shout out to Jaime Pena. Shout out to Pena Racing.
Jaime.
Big shout out to Dominic Pena for running sub 4 second pass. He's right on your tail, Caleb.
He is.
He's on your tail, Caleb. What are you gonna do?
He's a much lighter rider than me.
Excuses.
But for a stock cylinder bike, that's definitely moving. The whole Pena crew, they have some awesome bikes. They keep those things looking good. Also, big shout out to them. They always run like all the safety gear, even if a track doesn't require stuff.
Sure.
You'll always see them out there, full setup, boots, gloves, long pants, long sleeves, chest protectors. Like there's some serious like commitment to the sport and keeping it safe for the kids too.
Yeah, dude, this picture of him from the side popping that wheelie right on the bar, right on the launch, wearing all of the safety gear. He looks like a freaking stud. He really does.
He does. He is a stud.
He is a stud. He really is. And I wish him nothing but the best later on in his sand drag racing career. This is going to wrap it up for this episode 2 of Paddle Talk. It's probably kind of long. Y'all deal with it because it's our show and we'll do what we want. I'm just kidding. We appreciate everybody who tunes into the show. On behalf of myself, Dave, Isaac, and Caleb, thank you. And we'll see you next week for Paddle Talk.